I want to use this particular video right here to try my best to reach the younger generation, especially those who have had an imprinted mindset. Now, I want you to listen to me very closely. What I mean by an imprinted mindset is there are things that you have experienced in your past, and those things that you have experienced in your past, now that you are converted, they have influence in your life. And of course, these are the things that we all literally have to be purged from. Because the book teaches us to forget those things that are behind and then press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling. So I want you to listen to me very closely, okay? Because depending on your environment, very key word right there that I'm saying, depending on your environment, meaning environment has a way of influencing people in their lives. And no matter where they go throughout life, environment has its influence. All right, so listen to me very closely. When you grow up in a particular environment, all right, and let me give you an example of some of the environments I grew up in, okay? I grew up in the inner city projects, okay? I was very young. And then from the projects to the ghetto. And of course, we all know that the ghetto is the holding place of the Jews or the Yehudims. And then from the ghetto to what the world calls commonly the suburbs, which is outside of the major city. I grew up outside of the major city, okay? And it was totally different than the influence that I had being raised in the projects, the ghetto, and then out in the suburbs, which later on, that particular suburbs ended up becoming the ghetto because the city expanded. And then from that point, by that time, I was already long gone on my own in the military, jumping out of airplanes, rappelling out of helicopters, and learning how to kill people. And that's been pretty much my influence, or the influence of my particular surroundings. Now, in these particular surroundings, I grew up watching people do drugs. I watched them snort cocaine. I watched them smoke a boatload of marijuana. I watched them drink themselves into oblivion. I watched women smart off the men, and I literally watched the men knock the taste out of their mouths. And mind you, I'm a little bitty thing then. I have saw people get shot, and ambulances come and drape cloths over the top of bodies. I grew up in and around the surroundings to where there was gunshots almost every single weekend. Later on, when I got towards the junior high and the high school, my parents had enough of that type of environment. They moved out, and it wasn't as bad. But what didn't change was the amount of use of drugs that the people were using. So if you go from the lower class to the middle class, and because I've never been a part of the upper class, the only thing that didn't change from one class to the next was the amount of drugs, the cocaine and the marijuana that people was using. And I was offered cocaine and marijuana all of the time. And they would never force it on me. They would just say, hey man, come on, get some. This is good stuff. You get high. And I say, nah, that's okay. I don't know why that I've always avoided it, but I did. I literally always avoided it. And I just did. Just avoided, just never had any ambition or nothing in that. It's not that I'm more righteous than anybody else, but I saw a lot of things. So today, like in yesterday year, you've got your people out there who the world in the lower class, the ghetto, the projects, the people who are not in the middle class or the upper class, they fancy the people in those environments right there, who they call thugs, street dudes, men who allegedly have a alpha mentality because they sell drugs, they date hood rats, and they spend a lot of time in jail as jail rats. And some way, somehow, in that particular environment, this equates people, or somehow the equation is that these people are men and these people are tough guys. Now, personally, growing up in these areas, I had to literally fight people who was fancied as thugs. And what I found in my own experience is that every one of them was punks. Every single one of them, at least in my experience. Because when people run in groups, there's some type of kryptonite that they have in themselves. But when they by themselves, it's a total different story. But I also learned that when you smack the taste out of the one who allegedly is supposed to be the leader, who's supposed to be the tough guy and all like that, it changes the whole aura and environment of everyone. And that's because people fancy those who they believe to be an alpha, and most alpha males in those type of environments, thugs, they're mostly people who run their mouth a lot. And they really truly don't have much heart. I mean, it doesn't take much heart to take a gun and pull a trigger on someone and either kill them or maim them. It doesn't really truly. What takes heart is when you get your ass in the military, you jump out of a damn airplane at 2:30 in the morning in some foreign country, and then a couple hours later you got damn bullets 7.62 whistling by your dang head and stuff, and you're hearing all this hollering and screaming and stuff, and war is hell. Now them are real true heroes, but I'm trying to show you something. See, because this type of lifestyle has been imprinted literally on the minds of people, and people have been deceived by those who they think to be what they call street dudes or men. Now, you got to ask yourself a question. How tough is it? And what makes a man tough? How tough do you have to be to sell drugs? I mean, think about it. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on, I used to sell drugs. You know, you were just a lazy ass male, period. You're just a lazy ass male that will truly never accomplish anything in your life, and your life is going to end in a dead end. I mean, think about this. All those people that I realize, and I've known, because this Facebook thing is something else, but the people I grew up around that did a lot of drugs, that fancy themselves to be tough guys, and all this other stuff, you know that without fail, their future now, see, we're not in these just that one little small space of time and in your teens and in your 20s. Now, we're in the 50s and 60s, staring up on how we should be leaving a legacy back for our children's children, and we're closer to death than we were back then. Of course, a lot of people died early back then. I can't tell you how many males, especially a lot of my cousins, died because they fancied themselves to be thugs. All right? Now, let's use the last one, for instance, that everybody's familiar with. I still don't even know who the cat was. Some guy by the name of Nipsey Hussle. He was tough. You know, he got shot and he was still talking smack till the day he died. Okay, I get that. Okay, so the guy that shot him was a punk. Okay, he's a punk. He's a sissy and a coward. All right? Nevertheless, that punk, that sissy and coward snuffed out this man that was allegedly greatly loved by the community. And that community mourned this Nipsey Hussle. And apparently this guy is one of those people who, once he tasted success in life, that he came back and wanted to put back into the community. And what did the community ultimately do? They ultimately killed him because of a mentality that is associated with that particular environment. Am I talking to you people? And that's why the majority of our women today ain't learned nothing. Because when you cut on the TV, all you see is rappers that's denigrating women and convincing women that they really ain't shit. They ain't about nothing. They nothing but bees and hoes, and then that mentality gets in them, and then they start dressing like them, looking like them, acting like them, end up prostituting themselves out to every man. Now, while you may not say prostitution, but every date ends up in sex. That's the prostitute. It's just a cheap prostitute. It's a cheap whore. All right. So, and then these women have been taught to look up to these guys that sell drugs, which I continue to keep saying that these are some lazy males. It doesn't take nothing to sell drugs. It really don't. Like I said, I'm not oblivious to this. I've been around this stuff. It's just that I personally never participated in it. But I do remember one time that my little brother got shot. Yeah, he got shot. He was in the car, and they shot him in the side. And of course, they was running down the road, and he jumped out of the back of the vehicle, and he low crawled through the ditches and stuff. They couldn't find him because he used to be a Marine. And he bust open the door of someone in an affluent neighborhood and called 911 himself while he was sitting there bleeding out. Anyway, the ambulance comes, gets to the hospital. Make a long story short, by this time, I am a pastor. I lay hands on him. The Most High spares him, and he returns back to his vomit again. All right? That's in short. But I remember one time that I was in the 82nd Airborne Division. All right? I got a call that my little brother, who was selling drugs after he got dishonorably discharged from the Marines after 3.5 years of service, which is nonsensical. I got a call that some men, thugs, came by and did a drive-by shooting on my parents' house. And my mother was washing dishes, and the bullet missed her head by that much. Now that I look back on it, I kind of feel sorry for Sister Carol, because my mentality back then was this. She knew that when I was going home, she knew that I was more than capable of handling my business. I didn't give a damn if it was 2, 3, 4 guys. I was more than capable of handling my business because, see, I'm not idiotic like a lot of people do. You know, I've been trained to own the night, if you know what I mean. And so I know how to get at someone if I need to get at someone. Now, I'm just giving you real talk here, okay? So the first thing I did, I saw my brother. And I said, I looked at him dead in his eye. I said, you would have been literally 6 feet under if that bullet would have hit my mama and killed her. Even if it would have hit her, you still would have been 6 feet under. Well, you already know what I was saying. Read between the lines. And then guess what? I would have went to jail probably for the rest of my life for murder, because this asshole of a brother was so selfish in his thug life and selling drugs and doing all this other stuff, probably did somebody wrong, and they did a drive-by. They didn't have any care for my father or my mother, and compromised and put in jeopardy our homestead and damn near killed my mother. Now, you tell me. Now, going back a little bit, because I'm sorry I went forward. When my little brother got shot at this particular time, the first thing I did is I went home, and Carol knew it. She knew when I went out that door, my parents' house. She looked at me. She had Chuck in her hands. She looked at me and she just kind of like had tears in her eyes. She knew what I was going to do. She knew it. And I had already talked to a few people in the neighborhood, or what is commonly called the hood. And I went looking for these people who shot my brother, literally. And come to find out later that the guy who shot my brother, somebody shot and killed him. So anyway, I was in the vicinity. Everybody knew the reason why I was there. And wasn't nobody messing with Chucky. That was me. Ain't nobody gonna mess with Chucky. See, when you're young and everything stuff, you know, people have all these different types of thoughts about you. But when you become a grown-ass man, and they know you're a grown-ass man, all of a sudden, all these thugs, all these damn street dudes who seem to be fancying themselves somewhat, you find out when you get face to face to their ass, you look at them eyeball to eyeball, they cracked out the damn beat. So anyway, jumping back again, I kind of, now that I look back on it, I kind of feel sorry for Mother Carol, Sister Carol, because what if I would have went out there, had snuffed out some of these damn worthless piece of trash's life? I still would have probably been doing time, ruined my career. She'd have been left. My son would have been left fatherless. She would have been left husbandless. No head in her life. But as fate would have it, the Most High Yah turns around and he saves me. Well, glory to the King. So thugs or street dudes to me are pretty much lazy, irresponsible, illiterate, vile dirtbags in a nutshell. To prove to you what I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to get something in your head, because you see, everything that we do in life, something leaves an imprint or an impression. And if you develop soul ties with, I don't care what it is, good or bad, your father and mother leaves an imprint or an impression. People leave imprints or impression. Relationships leave imprints or impressions. And you got to determine, what he thinks healthy for me, what he good for me, or is it bad for me? Is there something trying to keep me bound? Because after being converted, you got to be walking on in a newness of life, dying out to that old man. Now, I'm not the same man that I used to be. I'm a hell of a lot more intelligent. I'm not as strong and powerful physically as I used to be, but I'm still pretty damn strong and powerful for a 53-year-old man. I promise I can damn hold my own pretty damn good almost against anybody. And that's not because I'm trying to be somebody. It's just that I take personal pride in taking care of myself. I take personal pride in always being at the ready. Because you don't never know. You know my saying. You don't get to pick the day, the time, or hour when evil comes your way. And so I have to always be ready, because I have precious people that I'm surrounded by. That whether they have taken responsibility or not, I've taken up on myself to make sure that they live in a protected environment. But without fail, when you look at these so-called thugs, street dudes, they have wasted, if they make it to their 50s, they have literally wasted their life. Check out these people when they get in their 50s, if they make it to their 60s. Usually most of them, because of the type of lifestyle that they chose, if they make it to their 50s, they usually die in their 50s because of some type of health reasons or something, health concerns. But when you look at it, that life, thug, selling drugs, running women, running dirty, where's it got them? Because they usually ain't got shit. They usually have to live off of somebody else's benevolence now, because they ain't shit, because the neighborhood don't respect them no more. Nobody respects them. They have sown nothing in their youth. And when you have sown nothing in your youth, what the hell can you expect when you get old? What the hell can you expect when you get old? When you're supposed to be establishing a legacy for the seed that's coming behind you. And for some sick reason, I was watching a video here on YouTube. I was watching a video of women with their deranged, retarded, spiritually retarded mindsets. Spiritually retarded mindset. Because you can't do nothing about natural retardation. And I would dare not speak against any of that at all. But these spiritually retarded people, meaning they dumb as hell on purpose, dumb on purpose, you watch them glorify these rap videos where people are putting this fake money out and these fake chains and so-called living the life of doing what? Playing music, snorting cocaine, shooting up heroin and smoking marijuana, and running women. That's the life. And women being ran through, that is the life, huh? It's a sick mentality, but for some reason, women today, they consider thugs to be alpha males. They consider them to be red pill men. And they actually despise and hate nice men, nice guys, or nice males who actually want to do, and I'm only going to speak from a biblical perspective, but those who really truly want to be responsible for them to do exactly what the word says. And the reason being, the reason why women are having a difficult time today, and the reason why they destroy every relationship that they're ever in, is because some thug done made an imprint, an impression in her life. Or either some dysfunctional family done made an imprint or an impression in their life. And it's hard for people to climb up out of the proverbial crabs in the bucket. So when the Most High Yah gives anyone an opportunity, I'm going to tell you right now, like he gave me an opportunity. He gave me an opportunity to cross over from death to life. He gave me an opportunity to know exactly who I am. And he did this even at a young age. And that's why I serve him so hard. Men get in trouble with women. And I'm not saying you're in trouble. I'm trying to say you're literally in trouble with women when you try to view things and see things, determine things, discern things after the perspective of a woman, which they themselves don't care nothing about truth. All they care about is their wicked heart and their emotions and the thoughts that enter into their mind based on previous experiences. Because see, if you ain't had any intelligence experiences, then all your intelligence that you draw from has been from your previous history and previous experience. Am I making sense? And whenever a man gets to the point to where he's caring more about a woman's unstable emotions and feelings more than truth, he has become, and he is becoming, effeminized. He is becoming castrated and castigated. That's what he's becoming. He's becoming an emotional male, which will end up later on gendering to being effeminate because he's not thinking with the rationale that the Most High Yah has determined that he's put in us. They got a term out here in the world called game. And I've been hearing this term a lot lately. Game. I've been hearing it from the brothers. I would interview the brothers, what is this game stuff? Game. You know, game to me is like the Dallas Cowboys versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Lakers versus the Celtics. You understand what I mean? That's game. That's game to me. But what I've determined in this game is someone who is a liar, a cheat, a deceiver, who's someone who's irresponsible, and someone who is full of deception and walks in fallacies. That's what I get, because the ultimate deal about game is being able to deceive people to be able to get what you want in life. And they call that game. Game can't add value to you, because ultimately you're going to end up with people likening to yourself. I believe that people can be transformed. I really truly do. But I know for sure that the only way that people are going to be transformed is by this deliverance. And I'm talking about a real, true deliverance. I'm talking about demons being casted out of them. I don't know how to say a lot of things today, because it's getting increasingly difficult to reach a generation that don't have the ears to hear. See, because it makes no difference. It makes no difference how intelligent someone considers me to be. It makes no difference how my lifestyle shows fruit of the literal experience of where I've come from, where I've been, and where I'm at now. Because I promise you one thing, I'm in a hell of a lot better position than these damn used to be gangsters, self-appointed gangsters and thugs, and street dudes. I promise I'm better off than all of them. when we obey what the word says, ultimately what it does is it pulls us from that life and it gives us life. And now we have an expected end to be able to hold a brand new role for our descendants that's coming behind us. For some reason, in my experience now, I'm going to use this term loosely. I want you to listen to what I'm saying. For some reason, women today have a problem with responsible, stand on your own 2 feet. I'm going to use this word, nice, and I'm using it loosely, men. They would rather have someone to mentally abuse them, verbally abuse them, and physically abuse them in order to feel like a woman, in order to feel like that man is a man. It's unreal. I don't like the influence of the internet nor social media. I don't. I literally don't like it. I teach men, young men today, and I teach them flat out. Almost every single Sabbath, we're at that table, up at the elders' table, and no telling what subject may come along. But when a fire subject comes along, what you'll see, a subject that will educate and inform the men how to be men or what's going on in his life, you'll watch everybody shut every damn thing down. They will shut up and literally sit around that table and listen to me. And they'll do that for hours on end. You know the reason why? Because they have confidence in my footprint. They have confidence in the work that I've literally put in. And they realize that I am literally here for their good. Because I have not been a lazy ass man that's been on the damn streets that think I'm something because I used to sell drugs. Selling drugs ain't shit. All you're doing is destroying your own community and your own people. As a matter of fact, anyone who used to sell drugs to their people, you are the ultimate hater that there's ever have been. Because you use the same damn influence that allegedly the white man has placed in your neighborhood in order to profit off your people and to make them all a bunch of mindless minions. And we supposed to glorify your funky ass? No, hell no. So that is a spiritually retarded mentality. That's why men gravitate towards PastorDowell today, because I preach the gospel, I live the gospel, and I live and lead by example. I teach men today things to look out for concerning women. If you want a good woman, because there are certain traits that they exhibit. Now, there are some things that you're going to have to deal with women, even after conversion, even after you're married. You're going to have to shape them, form them, and mold them. Because I promise you, they're going to do every damn thing in their power to challenge you. But don't get to the point where you get your emotions involved. Let those challenges be few. And let your words mean exactly what they say. I'm talking to a man that is a real, true man, that really, truly loves and really, truly knows his responsibility and really, truly know who he is in the Most High Yah and lives it. Myself personally, I would tolerate and put up with things for just a little bit. And I'm telling you right now, my fuse used to be like this. About I would just say, man, a few years ago, I used to have a long fuse like this. The older I get, I find my fuse getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Now my fuse is just about right here. It is. I just simply can't tolerate foolishness. I cannot tolerate disrespect and dishonor. Because I'm not going to have it. I'm definitely not going to have it in my house. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll give people grace and mercy just like the Father will. But when I'm tired, I'm like the Father. You just like Saul. Saul kept doing this, and he didn't ever think that the Father was ever going to rise up and pull the plug. One day, the Father said, I'm tired of it, and he came without warning. That's how I am. I learned from the Most High Yah. And of course, I know I'm subject to be called all kind of names and all type of lies will be willing to be made up about me and my name slandered and run through the mud. I don't give a damn, because at the end of the day, If you're spiritual, by their fruits, you're going to know them. A man is one that fear Yah and keep his commandments. That's what a real man is. Women, there's no glory in these damn dead end, sorry, drug, panhead, can't even think straight Negroes whose lives has been wasted and it lives in a dead end. Most of the women are going to end up, whoever been involved with these damn thugs, after they done ran you through and stuff and done discarded you, and you mostly going to end up having to take care of yourself, and then he is going to have to try to depend on the benevolence of those of us who are the working class citizen, because we're going to have to end up turning around paying their sorry ass lifestyle, because we're paying into Social Security and they ain't paying a damn thing because in taxes or nothing, because they've been selling drugs on the side and stuff, and all of a sudden we're supposed to be responsible for the irresponsible, which I hate that stuff. This shit just don't make no damn sense. None of this does. It don't make no sense. Here I am working to provide a living, and many of you are working to provide a living, and these boogers have done nothing but damn sell drugs, run women, smoke dope, do crack, shoot up heroin, do meth, all this other shit, so-called living up the life. Now they're in their damn 50s and 60s, they ain't worth two damn dead flies. Now all of a sudden they sucking off the damn system that we've been working to pay into all of our damn lives, and by the time I get a Social Security age, it may not even be there. I know that some of you may be offended, but see, my perspective is totally different, because I have literally worked on my mind, and I've literally made sure that I've changed my life to fit this, the Holy Bible. And so what you see of me today is the product of a man that has obeyed the word. Now you judge fruit. Am I, and no man is good, I'm just using it as a figure of speech, but compared to the thug, compared to the gangster, compared to the street dude, and where their life has ended up, and where all these people's lives ended up, would you consider myself and my lifestyle one of good fruit or bad fruit? Because the alternative that you've got to judge on, you got to determine, is this thug, is this used to be, want to be gangster, this lazy man whose life ends into a dead end, does he possess good fruit? Does he? Men, you want to be a man, you have to learn how to follow a man. Women, you know, there's very few women, even in the ministry, there's very, very few women that is of a meek and quiet spirit. What you see in Mother Carol is what all women in the ministry should subscribe to be. No, she ain't perfect. She has flaws, character flaws, and things that she's still working on like anybody else. But you know what? Show me a better woman. Show me a better woman in the ministry. Just give me one that has more wisdom, better fruit, the lifestyle to prove it, the ride and die mentality, because, I mean, we've been through thick and thin, hell and high water. Mother Carol's been with me for 37 years. Wouldn't you call that ride and die? Who's with you in the storm and with you in the valley? She ain't loud. She's not boisterous. She don't get out on social media bumping her gums and running her mouth. Her footprint speaks for itself. Now, you tell me, and unless you are somewhere anywhere near close to what she is, as a woman, shut your damn mouth and learn. Just shut up and learn. Everybody wants to instruct, but nobody wants to be instructed. And wisdom is basically, I'm going to give it to you one more time, applied knowledge. Wisdom is basically applied knowledge. These are people who have been through experiences in their life. And the culmination of this experience in their lives has gendered to them making successful decisions and applying those successful decisions to their lives to where you can see the fruit. What do you think about that? A woman of a meek and quiet spirit is of great price in Yah. It takes a while too to become that. A long time. Now you can shorten it up, providing that you can be wise and listen to the wise. You see, Israel, we definitely going to have to hold a brand new road. We're going to have to. We're going to have to transform. We literally are going to have to transform. We are going to have to obey them that have the rule. I've been living all this time just so I can continue to keep pouring knowledge and wisdom in you. Now, we see a lot of these young foolish people, 20s and 30s. They've been in allegedly the faith with us 10 years. Can you imagine being with us 5 years, 10 years? Have all these good words and all these good things to say. Then all of a sudden, your opinion of us changed. What changed? What changed? Because I'm still here. I can't tell you how many people. You're coming down. First of all, I don't mind coming down. Because the one who put me up is the only one that can bring me down. I'm like an old oak. As in the precious words of an old bishop I used to know. Only Yah can bring me down. But if I'm following his laws, statutes, and commandments, and I can't tell you how many times over the years I've seen people who constantly said over and over again, you're coming down, you're coming down, you're coming. Every single one of them have come to naught. Without fail, every single one of them come to naught. As a matter of fact, they come so much to naught that when you hear the bad report about them, when you hear the way their lifestyle is gone, and some of them are asleep right now. Bodies done turned into worms. Where's that wisdom saying that if this work be not of Yah, it'll come to naught? Because every time you see these coalitions get together, and they all are fired up, boy, they on fire. Yeah, we're going to expose. Guess what? Y'all still with me. And they have been scattered and they come to naught. They are nothing. Do you know that a lot of these people are going to have to answer to the Most High Yah? Because what's going to happen in Shemaim is this. Shemaim is going to say, I sent you a pastor. As a matter of fact, I made sure you was in touch with him. I made sure you was able to hear him, see him, walk among him. And you rejected him. I told you I was going to give you pastors, and he was going to be after my heart, not your wicked heart. And that man is there to feed you with knowledge and understanding, not you to feed him, because you don't know nothing. You don't know shit. That's my man. That's what many of you are going to hear this on the day of judgment. I wouldn't doubt if you don't parade me out right there in front of him, and I just stand there. I chose him as the man of Yah for you for this generation to help you in your conversion, and you rejected. And when you rejected him, you rejected me after receiving him. And now look at him. He's in the kingdom, enjoying himself. And you're going to be thrust into outer darkness where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth because you thought you were so damn smart and so wise. It's pretty much going to play out like this because y'all ain't playing. You know, get your wicked hearts in order and get away from the sick mentality of this world. All of us got to be transformed because your life before Messiah wasn't shit. Period. All of us. If we're going to glory in anything, we're going to glory in the tree of Messiah. And that's the truth. And that is the truth. Straight way.